The most significant piece of evidence that we have in this entire ancient astronaut puzzle.
Tucked deep in the heart of the jungle, where time seems to stand still, a few old cameras were discovered, weathered, rusted, and forgotten. They once belonged to explorers whose journeys were lost to history until now. The photos inside, miraculously preserved, tell a story far beyond what anyone expected. With each frame, secrets long buried in vines and silence came to life. It's not just what the camera saw, but what it remembered. It's the perfect time they get an exposure to. What the device revealed will leave you absolutely speechless. Nature's real-life hot tub. Deep in the heart of the Peruvian Amazon, there's a place that feels like it belongs in a fantasy novel or an adventure movie. It's called the Boiling River, or Shanai Timpishka, which roughly translates to boiled with the heat of the sun. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. A river that actually boils. Not bubbling because of rapids, not warmed slightly like a hot spring. This river gets hot enough to cook you alive. And it's all been caught on camera. When people first hear about it, they usually don't believe it. A boiling river in the middle of the rainforest? Surely that's just a myth. But it's real, and scientists, explorers, and even YouTubers have traveled thousands of miles to witness it. The river's water can reach temperatures of over 200 Fahrenheit or 93 degrees Celsius, and it stretches for about 4 miles. That's a lot of boiling water. The weirdest part? There are no nearby volcanoes or geothermal vents like you'd expect. That's what makes it such a mystery and such a fascinating phenomenon. The river first became famous outside the local communities thanks to a Peruvian geophysicist named Andres Russo. He'd heard stories from his grandfather about a river that boiled, and he decided to go find out if it was true. When he got there, he was blown away. Not only was the river real, but it was unlike anything he'd seen before. Russo later wrote a book about his journey, and his footage, along with other documentary clips, shows animals falling into the river and literally cooking. It's tragic, but also jaw-dropping to witness. What makes the boiling river even more mind-blowing is that it's not powered by a volcano or magma chamber. Instead, scientists think it might be caused by deep Earth geothermal heating, where rainwater seeps far down into the Earth, gets superheated, and then resurfaces. That theory is still being studied. But whatever the explanation is, it's a reminder that there are still mysteries on this planet that science hasn't fully solved. The local people have known about this river for centuries and hold deep spiritual beliefs about it. For them, it's not just a natural wonder, it's sacred. Shamans believe the river has healing powers and is protected by jungle spirits. Whether you believe in the spiritual side or not, it's clear the river is powerful and demands respect. You can't just go for a swim there unless you want to end up like one of those poor frogs caught in the steam. Today, the boiling river has become something of a natural celebrity. People from all over the world are drawn to its steamy, mysterious waters. But at the same time, it's fragile. Like many natural wonders in the Amazon, it's under threat from deforestation and illegal logging. If the rainforest around it disappears, so could the river's unique ecosystem, and maybe the river itself. The next one is another forgotten place, and now found through the camera lens. Forgotten bones of the city of Z. There's something haunting about ruins, not the carefully cordoned-off tourist traps, or the marble-columned temples plastered across travel brochures, but the ones that vanish, crumbled stone devoured by nature, where vines wear the crown and silence reigns. The city of Z, they called it, whispered about by explorers, dreamed up by madmen, doubted by scholars. And now, somehow, there it was.
Or is the lost city of Zed, much like El Dorado, nothing more than a fever dream that will end up costing a lot of people their lives?
Caught in the trembling frame of a handheld camera, half swallowed by the green belly of the Amazon jungle. You wouldn't even notice it at first. The jungle is too loud, too alive. Trees tower like ancient gods, their roots coiled like sleeping serpents. There's a weight in the air, thick, wet, buzzing with insects that seem more like guardians than pests. And then the lens catches something unnatural, a corner of hewn stone peeking out from a wall of moss. Another angle reveals a staircase, crooked and caved in, leading nowhere. And then, as if the jungle gave permission, the city starts to show itself. Z wasn't just ruined, it was reclaimed, digested by time and forest. Temples stand like broken teeth. Entire avenues now serve as beds for trees, whose roots have ripped through stone like it was paper. Carvings, some still weirdly intact, stare blankly through curtains of ivy, their meanings lost, their gods forgotten. The jungle didn't just invade, it married the city, made it something new, something more alive than dead. And yet, even in its collapse, Z feels deliberate. Not random ruins scattered by time and weather, but the skeleton of a civilization that once pulsed with power and ceremony. You can almost feel it when you stand in the hollow of what used to be a grand plaza. Maybe priests stood here, maybe warlords, maybe no one we can imagine. But it wasn't empty. You can sense the ghosts in the silence, pressing close, curious or angry, or maybe just lonely. The weird part is how the camera found it. The footage was grainy, swaying, like it had been filmed on the run or in secret. Locals talk of cursed ground, of men who vanish in the green, of lights and voices at night. Others scoff, say it's just a trick of the jungle or some overzealous filmmaker with a drone. But the footage doesn't feel staged. There's a weight to it, the kind of weight you can't fake. Whoever shot it didn't expect to find a lost city. You can hear their breathing change, the gasp when the ruins finally come into full view. They weren't ready for Z. Nobody is. What's strangest about the city of Z isn't the ruins or even the legends. It's how it makes you feel, like you're intruding. Like the jungle let you see it just long enough to remember that it can take it back whenever it wants. This city didn't fall, it retreated. It folded itself into the earth and waited. Maybe for us, maybe for no one, but it's there. Bones wrapped in green, watching through cracks in the leaves, and somehow, knowing it's real makes it even more mythic. The abandoned people village. Tucked in the woods of Middlebury, where the trees grow thick and the silence presses against your ears, lies what's left of the mysterious people village.
I am in Middlebury, Little People's Village.
If you've never heard of it, you're not alone. Most people haven't, and maybe that's for the best. The place gives off a strange feeling, the kind that crawls up your spine and makes your skin feel too tight for your body. It's not on most maps anymore, and even the locals avoid talking about it unless you press them with a stubborn kind of curiosity. Still, if you wander far enough down the cracked and forgotten back roads, you'll find it, overgrown, silent, and suspended in a strange, eerie kind of stillness. The name People Village always struck me as odd. It's simple, almost childlike, like something a kid would call their imaginary town made of Lego bricks. But there's something haunting about it, too, as if it was once full of life and laughter, and then, all of a sudden, emptied out like a balloon with a hole in it. No one really knows why the village was abandoned. Some say it was the economy. Others whisper about a fire or some disease that crept in overnight. The weirder stories talk about strange lights in the woods or people going missing without a trace. Whatever the truth is, the only thing that remains today are the skeletons of old houses, their roofs caved in, and their windows like blank eyes staring out at nothing. Walking through the village feels like stepping into a different world, one that time forgot. Nature has taken most of it back. Vines wrap around broken porches, trees grow right through living rooms, and moss carpets the floors where people once walked. There's an old schoolhouse with a rusted bell that hasn't rung in decades, and inside you can still see faded chalkboards and tiny desks covered in dust and mold. It's easy to imagine the laughter of kids bouncing off the walls, which makes the silence even louder. In one house, someone left a dining table set, as if dinner was just moments away. Plates are still there, cracked but intact, and chairs are pushed back, like people stood up mid-meal and never came back. It's surreal and a little heartbreaking. Some explorers, thrill seekers, and ghost hunters have made their way through People Village over the years. Most of them leave with stories, some funny, some creepy, some downright chilling. A guy once told me his flashlight died the second he stepped onto the village road and wouldn't work again until he left. Another swore he heard a piano playing in one of the homes, but when he peeked inside, there was nothing but broken floorboards. I've been there a few times myself, and I won't lie, it gets under your skin. You feel like you're being watched, even though there's no one there. Every creak of wood or gust of wind feels like footsteps. It messes with your head. Despite all that, or maybe because of it, there's something oddly beautiful about the place. It's peaceful in a ghostly kind of way, like a photograph left too long in the sun. You can feel the lives that were once lived there. Sunday dinners, birthday parties, arguments, kisses on front porches. It's all still there somehow, tucked into the walls and woven into the air. People Village isn't just abandoned, it's paused, like someone hit the stop button on a tape recorder and never came back to press play again. Back to Amazon, where the trees stretch like green cathedrals and the air hums with unseen life. There's a story locals whisper after dark about the ghost dog of the jungle. Is it a myth, or there's truth behind it? The jungle's ghost dog. It's not something you'd find in a tourist guide or on a documentary. It's one of those stories that lives in the space between fear and respect. The older folks speak of it with reverence, like it's part of the forest itself. Some say it's the spirit of a long-dead protector. Others believe it's a warning, a wild soul that walks the rainforest to remind people that not everything in this world belongs to us. Now, this isn't your average ghost story with chains and howling in the night. No, the ghost dog, sometimes called El Perro Fantasma, is quiet. Too quiet, really. People don't hear it coming. They just feel it. First, there's a sudden silence in the jungle, like the frogs, the birds, the monkeys, all hold their breath at once. Then, a chill runs down the spine, and boom, there it is. A flash of glowing eyes in the dark, or a faint silhouette sliding through the mist. Hunters claim it follows them, always just out of sight. A few say it saved them from jaguars, or led them out when they were lost. But just as many swear it made them run, made them question what they were doing there in the first place. Some believe the ghost dog is a spirit guardian, maybe a dog that once belonged to an ancient shaman. In that version of the tale, it watches over sacred places and punishes those who disrespect the land. Pretty poetic if you think about it. In a place as rich and wild as the Amazon, it makes sense that the forest might have its own defenders. After all, it's been around far longer than we have, and it's seen how we treat it. Maybe the ghost dog is nature's way of reminding us that the jungle is alive, not just a resource to be used up. Of course, not everyone believes in it. Scientists and skeptics roll their eyes, saying it's just a legend born from fear and isolation. Maybe it's just a trick of the light, or a pack of stray dogs gone feral. But even the most logical minds can't deny that there's something about the Amazon that makes you believe in things. When you're miles from any sign of civilization, surrounded by creatures that look like they came from another planet, it's not hard to believe there might be more out there than we can explain. What's wild is how the story sticks with you. Whether you believe it or not, once you've heard about the ghost dog, you start to notice things. The way the forest watches you, the odd prints in the mud that don't quite match any animal you know, and when the night falls thick and heavy, and every shadow looks like it could move, well, your imagination does the rest. That's the power of stories like this. They blur the line between myth and reality. Pulcani Forest Mystery. If you ever find yourself wandering through the Pulcani Forest, nestled somewhere between the borders of known and unknown, don't be surprised if you stumble upon something that gives you pause. Hidden beneath a thick canopy of ancient trees and moss-covered ground are what locals call the mysterious stones of Pulcani. They don't look particularly grand at first glance, just old rocks scattered throughout the woods, but the deeper you walk into the forest, the weirder they get. Perfect circles, spiral carvings, stones that hum ever so faintly when you touch them. None of it makes sense, and maybe that's what draws people in. There are no clear paths in Pulcani. The stones seem to decide where you go. Some hikers claim they walked in circles for hours, only to end up back at a spot they swear they had left behind. Others speak of the forest growing unnaturally quiet around certain clusters of stones, as if the birds themselves hold their breath when you step too close. It's not uncommon for compasses to stop working or for phones to lose all signal just when you reach what locals call the heart ring, a circle of upright stones about the height of a child, perfectly spaced, with nothing growing inside the ring. No grass, no bugs, just stillness. No one knows where the stones came from. There's no record of anyone placing them there, and they're not made of local rock. Geologists who visited the site decades ago said the material doesn't match anything in the surrounding region. Some suggested glacial movement. Others proposed ancient civilizations, but no tools or artifacts have ever been found nearby. And honestly, none of the experts stayed long. There's this one story about a researcher who disappeared for 3 days, only to emerge from the forest with no memory of what happened. He never went back. Then there are the stories told around campfires, the ones you won't find in textbooks. Legends say the forest is ancient, older than the oldest human memory, and the stones are watchers, guardians maybe, or something even stranger. Some believe they're markers of an ancient language, left by beings who walked the earth before people ever did. Others think the stones shift ever so slightly when no one's looking, slowly forming patterns that only reveal themselves under moonlight or during storms. A few old-timers swear they saw the stones glowing faintly blue during the blood moon in '82. No one believed them, of course. Crooked Forest of Poland. Tucked away near the village of Nowe Czarnowo in West Pomerania, Poland, there's a forest that looks like it came straight out of a fantasy novel, or maybe a glitch in the Matrix. It's called the Crooked Forest, or Krzywy Las in Polish, and it's one of the weirdest and most fascinating natural sights you'll ever see. Picture this: about 400 pine trees, all bending at a dramatic 90-degree angle just above the base before swooping upward into the sky. It's not a trick of the camera. These trees are genuinely shaped like question marks, and no one's entirely sure why. The trees were planted sometime around the 30s, and the best guess is that they were manipulated by humans while they were still young and flexible. But here's the kicker: no one really knows who did it or why. Some think it was done on purpose to create curved timber for boat building or furniture. Others speculate it could have been caused by heavy snow weighing the trees down, or some strange gravitational anomaly, though that last one veers into sci-fi territory. What makes the mystery even more intriguing is that the rest of the forest, which surrounds the crooked section, grows completely straight. It's like nature decided to pull a prank on just this one little patch of land. What's also striking is how hauntingly beautiful the forest looks. Photos and videos taken there have an almost surreal quality. The way the trees curve in unison makes it feel like you've stepped into another dimension. Some shots, especially those taken in fog or snow, look like scenes from a Tim Burton movie or a dark fairy tale. It's no wonder the Crooked Forest has become a magnet for photographers, tourists, and conspiracy theorists alike.
They start growing like every regular tree, but then they bend at 90-degree angle.
Despite its growing fame, the Crooked Forest still feels like a bit of a hidden gem. It's not overrun with crowds, and if you visit, you'll probably be able to wander among the trees in relative peace. There are no big billboards or flashy attractions nearby, just this odd little grove that quietly defies explanation. It's the kind of place that makes you stop and wonder what else in the world we don't fully understand. And maybe that's the real charm of it. Whether it was the work of farmers with a plan or just a happy accident of nature, the crooked forest continues to bend expectations. Literally. It's a reminder that not everything in the world fits neatly into straight lines or easy answers. And honestly, that's kind of what makes it beautiful. Well, the next one is another spectacular attraction in Central America. Stone spheres of Costa Rica. Deep in the lush green landscapes of Costa Rica, there's a mystery that's been rolling around for centuries, literally. Scattered across the country, mostly in the Diquís Delta region, are hundreds of nearly perfect stone spheres. Some are small enough to pick up with your hands, others are massive, mansis, weighing up to 15 tons. And no, they weren't dropped by aliens or shaped by wind and water, though those are fun theories. These orbs were handcrafted by humans, but exactly how and why? That's the million-dollar question. The spheres were first discovered in the 30s when a banana plantation crew from the United Fruit Company began clearing land. As workers bulldozed the area, they stumbled upon these strange round stones buried in the earth. At first, no one really knew what they were looking at. Some workers, hoping to find gold inside, even blew a few up with dynamite. Seriously. Unfortunately, all they got was shattered rock and a lost piece of history. Archaeologists later confirmed that the spheres were made by pre-Columbian people, most likely the Diquís culture, and that they date back over 1,000 years, some possibly as far back as 600 AD. Crafted from local stones like gabbro, limestone, and sandstone, these spheres were shaped with surprising precision. Some are nearly perfectly round, which is wild when you consider these folks didn't have metal tools or advanced measuring equipment. So, how did they do it? Some say they used smaller rocks to chip away. Others suggest they polished them with sand over time. Either way, it took skill, patience, and some serious craftsmanship.
It's this area here where most of them are found, in Costa Rica, mainly in the southern portion of Costa Rica.
But the biggest mystery isn't how they were made, it's why. The spheres were often found in straight lines, curves, or triangular formations, sometimes near ancient settlements. Some experts believe they had astronomical or ceremonial significance. Others think they marked the homes of powerful individuals or served as symbols of status. There's also the possibility they were simply art, meant to impress, intimidate, or express cultural identity. And then, of course, you have the fringe theories. Aliens, Atlanteans, ancient giants. You name it, someone's probably blamed it. Today, the spheres are a protected national treasure in Costa Rica and have even been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You can see them in museums and scattered around towns, parks, and plazas, but many still rest in the ground where they were found, hidden away by jungle overgrowth, waiting for someone curious enough to rediscover them. Their smooth, mysterious shapes have become a symbol of Costa Rican pride and an eternal riddle that may never be fully solved. The Rainbow Swamp. There's something strange and magical about the Rainbow Swamp. Just saying the name out loud makes it sound like it belongs in a fairy tale, tucked between enchanted forests and lands where frogs talk and the moon winks at you. But the real Rainbow Swamp, as unbelievable as it sounds, exists. And it's not just a trick of the light. It's one of those places where nature seems to have a little fun, like it's playing dress-up with colors no one expects, in a place most people would just think of as muddy, murky, and brown. The first time I saw a photo of the Rainbow Swamp, I didn't believe it was real. I thought it was Photoshop or part of some art installation. The water was a dazzling mix of purples, blues, greens, even a touch of red and gold, swirling around like oil slicks on pavement after a rainstorm. But it wasn't pollution, it was something natural. That was what blew my mind. In a world where we often associate colorful water with something being wrong, this place was actually healthy and thriving. The colors are caused by a mix of light reflecting off the surface and organic materials, decaying leaves, algae, and other natural debris. In just the right conditions, the swamp turns into a liquid rainbow. Visiting it in person is like stepping into another dimension. The air is still, heavy with that deep, earthy smell of wetlands. You hear frogs chirping, like they're singing backup for the cicadas, and dragonflies hover just above the surface, like they're guarding some secret. Then there's the water, stunning and surreal, like someone melted a tie-dye t-shirt into it. You stand there, staring, wondering how something so beautiful can be so easily missed in this world. It's quiet, too, in a way that makes you think, like the swamp is holding its breath, waiting for you to notice it and just be present. It's funny, because swamps usually get a bad rap. People think they're creepy or dangerous or boring. But standing in the rainbow swamp changes your perspective. Suddenly, you start noticing all the little details. The way the cypress knees poke out of the water like curious fingers. The moss hanging from the trees like nature's tinsel. The reflection of the sky on the surface doubling the magic. It makes you realize that beauty doesn't always come in neat, clean packages. Sometimes it's wild, messy, and unexpected. Ghost of malls. Have you ever walked into a place that feels like it remembers things better than you do? That's what it's like going into an old shopping mall these days. There's something strange in the air, like a ghost is watching you from behind those shuttered store gates. Not a spooky ghost with chains and moans or anything, more like the ghost of a time. Not a person, the ghost of malls. Yeah, I said malls, not malls. It feels more appropriate. Like the past is mauling you with memories. Back in the day, going to the mall was a whole event. It wasn't just about shopping. It was where teenagers hung out when they didn't have anywhere else to be. Where parents dragged their kids to look for school clothes, where you'd meet someone for a first date and share a cinnamon roll or a terrible slice of food court pizza. It was loud, bright, full of music, smells, chatter, laughter. There was always something going on. Maybe a little kiosk selling glitter phone cases or some guy trying to peddle dead sea salt scrubs in the middle of the walkway. It was alive. Now, walk into a mall and it's like time just stopped and forgot to restart. Escalators still hum, the lights still flicker, but half the stores are empty. You pass by what used to be a Gap, now boarded up with some depressing "for lease" sign, and you swear you can still hear "Call Me Maybe" echoing faintly from the past. The fountain's still there, but no one's throwing coins anymore. The food court smells like bleach and dust, and the only place still hanging on is the sad little pretzel stand, with one teenage employee scrolling through TikTok behind the counter. It's like walking through a museum of a life that was super familiar and weirdly recent, but already feels ancient. I think what makes the ghost of malls so haunting is that it didn't feel like this would ever happen. Malls felt permanent. They were the place, the center of suburban social life. They had this weird gravity, pulling everyone in, even if you didn't really need anything. You just went. And now, online shopping pulled the plug. Amazon is the new mall. You click, it shows up. No need to wear pants or talk to anyone. Convenient, sure, but it's got zero soul. No accidental run-ins with old friends. No overheard drama from a group of teens. No grumpy Santa photos in December. Just packages on your doorstep and a glowing screen. The way the tile floors echoed when you walked fast. The awkwardness of the photo booth. The bored teenagers pretending to care about sunglasses. All of that is gone now, fading out like a song you haven't heard in years. But if you step into one of these half-empty malls now, you can still feel it. That ghost is still there, lingering between the escalators and the broken vending machines. Not scary, just sad and kind of sweet, like it's waiting, hoping maybe someone will bring it back to life. Did you find the places weird? What do you think of these mysteries? Share your comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more upload.